October 22nd, 1983. A normal Tuesday inside one of America's toughest prisons. By the end of the day, 2 guards are dead. Both killed within hours of each other. Both by the same prison gang. And the man who killed the first one, Thomas Silverstein, he was already serving 3 life sentences. He had nothing left to lose. The government's response? They didn't just punish him. They changed the entire prison system forever. What happened next inside USP Marion became the blueprint for the most extreme form of imprisonment in American history. A place where grown men lost their minds, where silence was the weapon, where being locked in a concrete box 23 hours a day was considered legal. This is that story. If that already has your attention, subscribe right now. This one goes deep. The year 1963. The most feared prison in America has just been shut down. Alcatraz, the island prison off San Francisco, is closing. Too expensive to run, too hard to get to. They need somewhere new to send the worst of the worst. They choose a tiny town in southern Illinois. Marion. Population. Small. Location. Perfect. 300 miles from Chicago, surrounded by nothing. USP Marion opens its doors. 476 men move in, many of them transferred directly from Alcatraz. Same dangerous people, new address. For the first few years, it looks like a tough but manageable prison. Then things start to crack. By 1968, officials launch a program called CARE, Control and Rehabilitation Effort. Sounds nice. It isn't. Inmates are forced into psychological sessions where staff and other prisoners verbally break them down. It's behavioral modification. Critics call it something closer to mind control. By 1973, they build a special block called the Control Unit. 1 floor. Maximum isolation, inmates there barely leave their cells. It's a prison within a prison. By 1979, Marion is officially labeled the only Level 6 facility in the entire federal system. That means it sits above maximum security. There is no higher level. There is no worse place to be sent. And the violence? It never stops climbing. Between 1978 and 1979 alone, there are over 200 serious incidents inside Marion. Stabbings, fires, 9 separate escape attempts. 6 homemade explosives found inside the walls. An associate warden is stabbed. Some escape stories are almost impossible to believe, but they happened. July 1971. An inmate named Warren Briggs jumps 2 15-foot fences, hitchhikes to Kansas City, and then turns himself in 4 days later. Why? To tell the public about his idea for a water machine. He genuinely believed he had invented something important. He walked back into prison to get attention for it. October 1975. 5 inmates walk out the front door. Not by force. One of them had secretly built a remote control device and used it to open the cell doors electronically. The last one caught was found in Canada. And then there's the helicopter story. May 1978. A woman named Barbara Ann Oswald charters a helicopter and tells the pilot, at gunpoint, to fly her to Marion so she can free her friend. Her friend is an inmate named Garrett Trapnell. While landing the aircraft, the pilot, Vietnam War veteran Alan Barklage, struggled with Oswald and managed to wrestle the gun away from her. Barklage then shot and killed Oswald, thwarting the escape. 6 months later, her 17-year-old daughter straps fake dynamite to her body and hijacks a commercial airplane, TWA Flight 541, demanding it land near Marion to finish what her mother started. She holds the plane for 10 hours before surrendering peacefully. A teenage girl. A hijacked plane. All because of a man in Marion. That is the level of hold this prison has on people's lives by the early 1980s. October 22nd, 1983. The day that splits Marion's history in 2. Morning. A prisoner named Thomas Silverstein is being walked down a hallway by guard Merle Klutz. Silverstein is already one of the most dangerous men in federal custody. He's been convicted of multiple murders inside prison. He leads a gang called the Aryan Brotherhood. He is serving 3 life sentences. As they pass a particular cell, something happens fast. Another inmate inside the cell passes Silverstein a key through the bars, a key that had been stolen from a guard weeks earlier. Silverstein unlocks his own handcuffs. He is handed a knife. He stabs Merle Klutz 40 times. Hours later, same day, same prison, another Aryan Brotherhood member named Clayton Fountain kills Officer Robert Hoffman, attacking him while Hoffman tries to pull Fountain off a colleague being beaten. 2 guards, one day, both killed by the same gang. The U.S. Attorney General goes on record and says something chilling. Silverstein and Fountain already had nothing else the prison system could do to them. They were already serving life. There was no punishment left. He calls on Congress to bring back the federal death penalty. Within days, Marion is placed on total lockdown. All inmates, all blocks, 23 hours a day in their cells. No communal meals, no group exercise, no church services. The lockdown does not end. It lasts 23 years. Drop a comment. What shocks you most about this so far? We read every one. What Marion becomes after 1983 has no official name yet, but the world will eventually call it Supermax. Concrete bed, concrete floor, concrete walls, a metal toilet, a heavy steel door with a slot for food trays, no windows to the outside, fluorescent lights that never fully go off, no television, almost no personal property, 1 hour of exercise alone in a concrete cage. This is not punishment for something an inmate did inside Marion. This is simply the new normal for everyone there. Researchers and prison officials from around the country come to study it. What they see becomes a model. State after state begins building their own versions. The concept gets a name, Marionization. The cost to house one inmate this way runs roughly $50,000 a year, nearly double a regular maximum security cell. The government pays it anyway. Courts are asked whether this is constitutional. The answer comes back, yes. The Seventh Circuit Court rules that given the extreme security problems Marion faces, the restrictions are legal. No court stops it. No law ends it. Thomas Silverstein, the man who started all of this on October 22nd, is transferred out of Marion immediately after the murder. He is placed under a designation that has almost never been used before or since. No human contact. He is not allowed to be near other inmates. He is not allowed meaningful interaction with staff. He spends years in cells specifically modified to keep him away from every other living person. He stays in that status for 36 years. 36 years. He dies in federal custody in 2019. Still under near total isolation. He is 71 years old. In interviews over the decades, Silverstein says the dehumanizing conditions are what created the violence, not the other way around. Experts who study solitary confinement say prolonged isolation causes hallucinations, severe depression, anxiety disorders, and in many cases, full psychosis. Whether you believe Silverstein or not, one fact is undeniable. The system that was built to control him also controlled hundreds of men who had never killed anyone. Over the years, Marion houses some of the most notorious names in American crime and history. John Gotti, the boss of New York's Gambino crime family, known as the Dapper Don, known for beating 4 federal cases. Marion is where he spends his final years in near-total isolation. He develops throat cancer and dies at the Marion Medical Facility in 2002. Jonathan Pollard, an American naval intelligence analyst who sells classified information to Israel, sentenced to life, sent to Marion. John Walker, a Navy officer who runs a spy ring for the Soviet Union for nearly 2 decades, also sent to Marion. Victor Bout, the Russian arms dealer known as the Merchant of Death, accused of supplying weapons to wars across Africa and the Middle East, held at Marion until 2022, when he is traded back to Russia in exchange for WNB, a star Brittany Griner, a mob boss, spies, a baseball legend, an international arms dealer, all passed through the same southern Illinois town. In 1994, The federal government opens a brand new facility in Florence, Colorado. They call it ADX Florence. Journalists call it the Alcatraz of the Rockies. It is purpose-built, designed from the ground up using everything learned at Marion. The warden of Marion personally consults on the design. Florence becomes the new home for the worst of the worst. The Unabomber Ted Kaczynski, the mastermind of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. Multiple convicted terrorists. El Chapo, the Mexican drug lord. Marion is gradually stepped down. In 2006, 23 years after the lockdown begins, it is reclassified as medium security. In 2007, it officially becomes a federal correctional institution. In 2024, it is renamed FCI Marion. The Supermax era at Marion is over, but its fingerprints are everywhere. By the early 2000s, over 60 Supermax or Supermax-style facilities exist across the United States. Every single one of them traces its design philosophy back to what happened at Marion after October 22, 1983. 2 guards. One day, one gang that had nothing to lose. From that, an entire new category of imprisonment is born. One that houses thousands of Americans in near-complete isolation. One that courts have upheld. One that psychiatrists have condemned. One that is still in use today. Marion wasn't just a prison, it was an experiment. And whether or not you think the experiment worked, the results are still running. Subscribe and hit the bell. Our next documentary drops soon, and you don't want to miss it.